Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you said you did not know that. Did you know that the room was dark when they went in?
No.
Okay. Were you aware of a policy in the schools for the safety of the children that the teachers and the children are trained on, that when there is a shooter and they get an alert that there's a shooter on campus, that they are to go in, turn off all the lights, be quiet, and hide?
Yes.
Okay. So if it was dark when they came in, it would not be a surprise, because any teachers and students following that training would have turned all the lights off, been quiet, and hid.
Correct.
Right, okay. So this door, as we talked about in this little closet, is directly across from the door that we entered into. Okay. And in your briefing on room 111, were you briefed that this was the shooter's homeroom when he was in 4th grade?
No.
Okay, you didn't know that.
No, sir.
Right. Because if you had known that, or if anybody in law enforcement in that position had known that, and had known who the person was before they get into school or whatever else, or even when they're outside the school, that gives a little bit more information about maybe where he's headed. Not just randomly going into a room, but going into a room that he knows, right?
Correct.
And that's important, because if that was his home room.
Objection, Your Honor, he's testifying, he's not asking questions.
It's cross-examination. I'll overrule the objection.
Because if that was his home room in 4th grade, then he would know, just like any student there would know, that that closet was there, right?
Correct.
If that was your homeroom or mine, and we remembered our homerooms from 4th grade, we would know the positioning if it hadn't changed, and the building hasn't changed since he was in 4th grade. But we would know that that's there. Now,
How do we know that for sure?
a shooter who is perched there can create a fatal funnel at the entrance of that classroom.
Yes.
Right. Were you aware when you were briefed that when the BORTAC unit, that's the Border Patrol Tactical Unit,
I'm less worried
went
about
in,
your fatal funnel and more worried
they did
about the fatal
they
fucking
basically
floor
What they
plan
did was they tried to do
of the children that
like
are
a diversionary
fucking
incident
dead
where they
right
came
there
in and
because you
tried to
cowards.
distract at the same time as they were shooting, right? To try to figure out, because you got to figure out where the shooter is in the classroom.
Yes.
And it turned out he was here. They had to draw fire to do that. Were you briefed on that?
No.
Okay. Were you briefed on the fact that Wayne Jackson from the BORTAC unit was shot in the head by the shooter?
No, sir.
Okay. So, and that's because if you're on a stick, as they call it, you got to be on a stick because there's the fatal funnel and you can't all fit at the same time. You go into the classroom and go to the side, and Wayne Jackson is at the very end and he gets hit in the head and it turns him around. You didn't know that?
No, sir.
Okay, so it's safe to say that this shooter is a mass child murderer who wants to be a cop killer. You would agree with that?
It's possible.
Based on those facts?
Yes.
As I gave it. And this shooter is, because a shooter in a mass shooting, you said you've worked several. A shooter in a mass shooting can kill themselves, right? That's something that has been done and can be done. A shooter can turn the gun on themselves.
Yes.
They can, continue to kind of roam around in the classroom and aimlessly maybe, or, doing stuff or saying stuff, or they can walk around the classroom with their gun. They can do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. They can try to escape if they can figure out or try to find a way to get themselves out, so they can commit the shooting and do this horrible, tragic, terrible thing and then escape the consequences of it. They can try to do that.
Yes.
By getting out a window, or even maybe trying to come through the door and shoot their way out or whatever else, right?
Correct.
But in this case, after he had committed his atrocities, he got in a closet and waited for the police to
That's
come in.
speculation. We don't know how long he was in there for. We know that he fucked with the kids.
So he's a mass child murderer who wants to be a cop killer, and luckily for Officer Jackson, it hit him in the top of the head, spun him around, but didn't kill him. But had it done that, he would have been both a mass child murderer and a cop killer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
prosecution, are y'all gonna object to anything?
We can take that picture.
Exactly, Rob.
So like you said you were trained on a Leica 3D scanner,
Yes.
and one of those things is with a Leica is that right. Yeah, and we say Leica, and but I think Leica is a brand name.
It's a brand name, yes.
Right. What's it? Oh, I guess what's it called? What's the generic name for a Leica scanner? If you even know, I've always said Leica, but one of the other rangers said that there was a system that was out there. It was called like a Total View or something. But you've been trained on Leica.
Yes, well,
Okay.
it's a 3D scanner.
Well, let's talk about Leica.
Okay.
And 3D scanner. Judge May used to well.
Yes.
So we have a, just so they know, and Gary explained it a little bit, but it's a tripod, usually.
Yes.
The scanner sits on, scans an area, and can tell you, one of the most important things it tells you is distances between things at the scene,
Yes.
right? And sometimes it may not be necessary, like you didn't do a Leica scan in 111.
No.
Right. And you wouldn't do that because the room was connected to 112 through I guess there was a door, kind of an open door, that I suppose could be shut. But those two, you could pass from 111 to 112.
Yes.
Yeah. And somebody else had the brief for 112.
Yes.
Okay. So just in general though, because I know you didn't have the briefer out here, I'm not going to try to take you too far afield. But just in general, in your forensics training, like a Leica scanner for, say, in this field, and in this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, that would tell distances between shell casings, between cars,
Yes.
between car and a building, right? Between entrances, between these cars in the parking lot. All of those things, a Leica pretty quickly would be able to scan it, get 1 million points of data, and then that's how it ends up, is we could end up saying, well, this is 15 feet from this, or this shell casing is, 10 feet from this shell casing, and this shell casing is 50 feet from that one, right?
Correct.
All right. So when we talk about this area here, and I want to talk about shell casings and shell casing collection. Have you ever been part of this, Gary, what was that called, the line that they do?
Line search.
Line search. You ever been part of a line search?
Oh, yes.
Right? And you say that like yes, of course, and I've done it a lot.
Yes.
Right. So in this case, the FBI did a line search. They do a line search all the way out here, all here, looking for shell casings, right? And so the way they described it is, everybody's in a line.
Objection to comparing testimony to other witnesses, Your Honor.
I don't think that's an objection, and he's been proffered as an expert by the state.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
So they walk in a line, and I see something. Everybody stops, flag, and do that. Is that your experience the same way?
Yes.
Have you ever had to go on your hands and knees?
Yes.
And what would the reason for that be?
High grass, weeds.
Sure. You can't necessarily trust, if you're standing all the way up, you can't trust your ability to maybe see something, so you get down lower to the ground.
You get down over the ground. I mean, you can use flashlights as well.
Right, sure. And so it's, you would agree that it's a thorough search, is what you're trying to do.
I would add another search. I mean, a different technique.
Which
What I
one?
would- in the past, I've used ATF canines that are specifically trained to look for shell casing, burnt gunpowder.
Right,
And yes.
and that's interesting, because you would have like the K9 that we see at the airport that is, and maybe sometimes at a traffic stop, hopefully not, but sometimes, that is trained to detect drugs, right? Cocaine. And those dogs that are trained to detect cocaine are, like, that's what they do. They detect cocaine. There's other dogs that are trained to detect bombs, and that would be really not, here's a bomb. What they're trained on is they're trained on the things that make up bombs.
Yes.
C4, other things like that would go into the bomb making if somebody were to do that. And then you have other animals like you talked about, these canines, that are highly trained to detect the scent of gunpowder, which would be on a shell case. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume that, that all the search is done the way that you feel should be done. And there are, if you look at this, I don't know if you got this from your brief, but I'll just tell you because this is the state's map.
Objection to just telling them, Your Honor, that's not a question.
I'm just
rephrase it, please.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just trying to orient you because this is the state's map, and I don't know if you can see this red line. Can you see this red line here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the state's map, and this is the shooter's path, and this is the culvert where he wrecked, right, at the start of this thing. Can you see that red X?
Yes.
Okay. So, a path that takes him the way that this path takes him, if shots are being fired along this path, they're being shot here, 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 here. All things considered, as an investigator, would you expect to find shell casings? Assuming they weren't picked up, assuming that they weren't moved, but a shooter shooting, as he goes this way, would you expect there to be evidence of shell casings to the right of where the shooter was?
It would depend on how he's holding the weapon.
Sure.
So he can be holding it sideways,
Right.
and the shell casing going straight up in the middle. So
Right.
they can bounce either way.
But I guess to go left, to start ejecting out from the left, he would have to be holding it upside down. If the ejector port is on the right side of the gun, when the gun's right side up.
Yes.
Right. So it would require somebody holding an M4 upside down and shooting to get ejection coming out the left side.
It's possible. I mean, it all depends on how the person was holding the gun. I mean, that's just a big variable.
And I agree with you. It's a big one. But we can say ejector port to the right, shell casing go to the right.
Right.
Right. Unless it's upside down, and then it would eject out to the left.
Right.
Not a common way to
No.
use an M4, right? Maybe here to the side, up, and the power is making it go up. But either way, all of this we're talking about.
You can lead
Right
the
or wrong?
witness
Right.
when you're on
We expect them
cross-examination.
to be somewhere around here.
Yes.
If you're shooting around. Okay. And shell casings that are here and here would be consistent with this, even from their own map, would be consistent with somebody firing along this route and this route.
Yes.
Right? Oh, these. Judge, I'll pass them.
Mayor, to be exposed to a fatal funnel, do you have to go to the fatal funnel?
Yes.
If you don't approach the fatal funnel, you're not exposed to a fatal funnel.
Correct.
Well played.
I couldn't see because I was sitting right directly behind Mr. Goss. He was talking about the shot coming from 111. Could you point that out just in general terms about what that we're talking about? Your fingers there on the east side of the wing. And then he was talking about a building that it could have gone to. That building there?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understand that.
Bill, you gonna have any?
I'm sorry?
Are you gonna have anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
And when you were the crime scene worker in this case, you picked up casings, correct? And fragments of bullets or bullets,
Yes.
and defects.
Yes.
And what's a defect?
Where a round makes an impact on an area, or a desk, a wall.
That's pretty standard stuff, right? If a bullet hits something, it leaves an impact and you can see it.
Yes.
And have you ever known a bullet to go through a solid object without leaving an impact?
Correct. No.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Just, as far as approaching the fatal funnel, all law enforcement is taught to be very cautious about a fatal funnel because a dead police officer doesn't help anybody, right?
Correct.
376
one
living police
after another
officers
going in
didn't
and
help
dying and
children.
Stacking up in front of that door is not going to save any of those children.
We're taught to get away from the fatal funnel.
Right. I'll pass it.
No further question.
Recall for this witness, either side?
Your Honor, this witness is out of country. I hope we can let it go.
Yes, Your Honor, and I do understand that. I don't want to keep him in, and I know he's got important work to do out of the country. So.
You're excused, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Farina? May we approach as he's coming, Your Honor? Okay.
And okay. There's so much to say and also so much not to say at this point. Because a dead cop's not good for anything, right? Neither were 376 living, breathing ones that were armed. The fuck? The absolute fuck? Hell, I'm gonna say this here first. So nobody steal this shit. I would be more worried about a fatal funnel cake than these officers were likely to go and fight something. Holy fuck. Nice watch, bro. It's not a crop top uniform. That's his vest. Yeah, he's wearing a shirt underneath his vest. You can see up here in this corner right there. That's where the vest comes together. And then each side does both direct and cross exam. Yeah. No, they still have 2.5 hours left of shit. Now, who knows? They could call it, but right, so for everybody that doesn't know,
Come up, please.
oh, never mind.
Would you raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony given in the cause will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. Have a seat over here. Adjust that microphone if you need to.
So who is this?
Tell us your name.
Brent Brina.
And what do you do, sir?
I'm a lieutenant with the Texas Rangers.
And how long have you been with the Texas Rangers?
I promoted in October of '08, so a little over 17 years.
What did you do before you were a Texas Ranger?
I was a highway patrol trooper for about 5.5 years from 2000 to 2005, and then I worked in our criminal intelligence service for about 3 years before that, or after that.
So how long have you been in law enforcement?
Almost 27 years.
And do you have any specialties in law enforcement?
A crime scene investigation.
Were you called out to Uvalde on May 24, 2022?
Yes, I was.
For what purpose?
The interior, different sections of the interior of the crime scene, inside the building.
And did you also conduct searches or crime scene on outside of the building, specifically as to the room 24?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And that's the one I want to kind of focus on right now, if I could, okay?
Okay.
What drew your attention to room 24?
Myself and Ranger Scott Swick had noticed that there were some cartridge cases flagged. I guess we would have been to the south of the main building where the shooting occurred, and it indicated that there might have been some shots fired towards building 24. So we went in that area and started inspecting some buildings in that area.
And so from the casings, you started looking for buildings in which those casings could have deposited bullet entry.
Correct. We were looking for structures that might possibly have a bullet defect on them.
And did you find any with a bullet defect on it?
We did, yes.
And how did you confirm that it was a bullet defect?
It visually looked like one, and then we use what we call 3M lead check. It's a swab that you can test for lead. It has a activator and a dye that mixes, and when it's swabbed onto a surface that has lead, it'll give a kind of a pinkish purple color reaction.
And did you document that?
Yes, I did.
Did you document it with photographs?
Yes, I did.
May I approach you? Yes. So in your exhibit 634 through 645, you recognize those exhibits?
Yes, I do.
State Tenders Exhibit 634 through 645, and offer for admittance.
Wake up, buddy. Or, I don't know, you're used to sleeping on the job.
May we display?
Yes.
Ranger, if you need the pointer to help you point things out to the jury.
Thank you.
Showing your state's exhibit 634, will you give us just a general description of what we're looking at?
Yeah, that's an overhead view showing the main building where the shooting was, and then down towards the lower right where the white roof is. That's classroom 24.
And would you point out classroom 24?
Your Honor, may I approach? Please. This will be classroom 24. This building here.
Thank you.
24.
And your testimony was you started from a point where there was a series of casings, is that correct?
It is correct, yes.
And you looked in a direction where that may leave an impact on a building.
Yes, correct.
So showing you exhibit 635. Can you tell us, is that generally where you were talking about? Excuse me. Can you tell us in general terms, is that the area where the casings were and the area you were looking for impact?
Yes, we were looking. They were in that general area, and then that's kind of where we started taking photographs towards building 24, looking for an impact, a defect in that direction.
Okay. And the red X, is that a place that shows where the photograph 636, the next photograph, general terms, where that photograph was taken?
It does, yes.
Well, you show 636. And looking at exhibit 636, can you tell us where the building is that you ended up searching or finding an impact?
Your Honor, may I approach?
I believe this is 24. I believe the little.
It's this building right here, this tan building, just to the left of that Chevrolet truck.
Yeah.
And exhibit 637.
So I'm guessing
What
24
are we
is one of
looking
those
at now?
standalone
It's
buildings.
just as the photographer's walking forward closer to building
This.
or classroom 24.
So you just close in with your photographs until you get right up to it.
Exactly, yes.
And exhibit 638.
Yeah, same building, just as we're getting closer to that building, photographing it.
And 639.
Same, now we're getting right up on it.
Okay. Did you find an impact?
I did, yes.
And what is the ladder there for?
It was a ladder I had that we used to get up to the height so we could photograph it and use the lead check swab to access that defect.
Okay. So that's the ladder you had to get to the impact?
Wait, so this is
Correct, it is.
And
this is
exhibit
telling us that
640,
he shot
tell us what that
towards
That's
that he
us getting a little
shot
bit
towards
closer to
fucking Adrian. So Adrian
Okay.
knew where he was.
I want to take just a minute while we're still out a little bit. Can you tell us the nature of that material that the building is made of?
Yes, it's kind of it's a sheet metal.
And does the sheet metal have ridges or different ins and outs of that sheet metal?
Yeah, I refer to it as kind of corrugated. It has ridges and, kind of peaks and valleys.
Okay, point out for us where your ladder is. Point out to us a peak and point out us a valley.
You're on the map.
I think that's what they're showing right here is that
Valley.
there was
So
a
the
round
peak
fired.
is where the ladder two legs straddle it. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And then just to the right, there's another peak
Correct.
of the same size.
Yes, correct.
And to the left, is there another peak of the same size?
Yeah, it looks like where the conduit's attached to, yes.
And that pattern repeats
Exactly,
itself all the
Calvert.
way down the wall. Is that correct?
It does, yes.
And so the peaks are raised and the valleys are lowered or further away.
That's correct, yes.
And not only, and is there an impact in Stakes Exhibit 640?
Yes, there is.
And is it in a peak or a valley?
It's in what I would call a valley, yes.
Okay. Would you show the jury again where the peak is?
Yes. The peak would be over here, and then the valley would be here.
The valley being recessed, about how far?
Maybe an inch, approximately an inch, something like that.
Okay. And did you point out the impact for the jury?
Yes, it would be this area right here.
And what you're holding, is that what is that?
That's the 3M lead check that we use to test if it tested positive for the presence of lead.
Okay. And just to left of that valley where the impact is, what is that?
It looks like a conduit, like a plastic piece of conduit pipe.
Can a bullet go through a piece of conduit like that without leaving an impact wound?
It could if it just kind of grazed it and skipped off of it. If it actually hit it straight on, it could go through it, or it could fragment.
Was there any impact on the left side of that conduit?
Not that I could clearly see. I mean, I can't rule out the possibility that it did impact that, and then the round fragmented, and then went through the surface, the metal surface.
I guess what I'm asking is, in your inspection of impacts, did a bullet travel through that PCV pipe and then enter that valley?
Not that I can tell. If it did hit the PVC pipe, it would have been on the edge closest to the impact site.
Excuse me, I didn't understand you.
I said if it did impact the PVC pipe, it would have, or the conduit, it would have been on the side closest to the impact site on the metal.
So they're saying that the
Right-hand side?
trajectory is
Correct. Yes, correct.
from that
The only
way,
impact
not
you saw
from
at
the
all was on
rooms where the
right-hand
rooms
side
would have
of
been
the PCV
to that
that
same
you saw
angle.
it at all.
That's correct.
Holy
Not
shit.
on the left-hand side.
No.
So do you have an opinion as to whether or not a bullet came from the left-hand side through the PCV, into the valley, and then into the building?
Yes, my opinion would be that it may have possibly struck the right side of the conduit and then into the sheet metal.
But not the left side?
That's correct. Yes.
So it couldn't have been from the far left where those classrooms would have been. It would have been from the fucking parking lot. Showing that he shot towards fucking Adrian. Adrian knew and didn't do a fucking thing.
Could you show us
Holy
again where
shit.
room number 24 is?
Right here.
And where is that impact site?
It's on this.
So at that point, they
And then is room 111 back on the east side of the fourth grade?
Let me turn this down real quick. So that means the testimony that they had throughout was 100% correct and shouldn't have been fucking thrown out. I mean, obviously it was thrown out because the defense didn't get it or what the fuck ever, but that just corroborates that fucking testimony 100%.
But could that same impact come from the position you saw the casings?
It could, yes.
And that's why you took pictures of it?
Correct, yes.
May I approach her? May I approach you?
Holy shit. Yeah, that testimony won't be allowed back in, but holy shit, that just corroborates it like fuck. Yeah, the jury already heard it. The jury already heard it. So at this point, even though they're like, hey, don't listen to that, now it's just being backed up by that fact. And they haven't driven it in yet. I hope the prosecution does. I hope they drive it in. That, you know, it wouldn't be able to be from that classroom because of the angle. It had to have been from the parking lot. If the prosecution actually does their fucking job, they'll fucking hammer down on that, and then that'll give the jury a reason to think, okay, so what she was saying was correct. Holy fuck. And here's the thing. I've been upfront and honest with y'all. I hadn't seen that picture. I didn't even know that there were bullets in that fucking in that building right there. Never seen it, never heard about it. That's fucking massive in my opinion. That's fucking massive. So there's pictures and evidence I wasn't given prior. Oh, absolutely, a shit ton.
You can be seated in the courtroom. Thank you.
Wait, what happened? Well, they just... What the fuck? I wish they would tell us. Okay, now we're going outside the jury's presence. I really wish that the fucking court would like play the audio of like the judge saying it and shit instead of us just having to fucking figure it out or wait for court TV to fucking update. Yeah, that corroboration will definitely hurt Adrian's case. Definitely hurt Adrian's case. So for those that weren't here and everything, the last guest that they had up was Officer Brent Barina, I believe. He's a Texas Ranger, and he marked and located a bullet hole in a building that could not have been hit because of the trajectory of it and of the PVC conduit right next to it. Could not have been hit at an angle from inside the school. It would have had to have been hit from that parking lot. Had it been shot at from the inside of the school in classrooms 111 or 112, like the defense, I'm sure, would try to fucking say, the PVC conduit would have been fucked up, right? Like it would have went through there, and the trajectory just doesn't line up. So the only suitable explanation is it was from that parking lot area, to which we know initially the defense said he drove right by the shooter and then that he just didn't know where he was at. But now we're seeing that there was a bullet fired in that direction, that Adrian was fired at, and that he knew where he was. So that really pushes it in. And Rob makes a great point. Prosecution has burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I hadn't heard this. This is all news to me. So I'm just as shocked as everyone else at this point. Well, they try to say he was too scared to do anything. No, because even if he was too scared to do anything, that would admit that he knew, right? And so the whole trial has been about, oh, he didn't know. He didn't see where the shooter was. He didn't know where he was at. He didn't know this. He didn't know that. If they're just like, oh, he was scared, which they are trying to put in there a little bit, but not too much. Because just being scared means that, yeah, well, you still endangered those children. Lawyers, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that was pretty damning evidence? Yeah, you claimed he didn't know, and yeah, absolutely. Oh. it was bad for Adrian and the evidence will accumulate. So, Rob, let me ask you this. That was the first real bit of like credible, like, here's the evidence, right? Like that places it in a certain spot, right? That's just the first, right? I mean, they're gonna compound upon it, right? Or yeah, physical evidence, not just witness testimony, but physical evidence. That should just be the beginning. Yeah, like they should have more, right, to compound on top of it. Okay. That also backs up the funeral home folks too, because he also testified to shots, definitely confirmed shots fired even without other witnesses. Absolutely. I mean, still fuck the prosecution, right? Because there's shit. There was a lot of, not this one, but the one before that. There was a lot of places where they should have objected, but they just let that shit fucking go. Don't know why. But I will say this. At giving me all of that information, all of the information that the DA and all of them have, fuck, I could have made that argument. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't take a great fucking person or a lawyer to come up with that, right? So like, fuck the prosecution, but still. How do I feel about this? So this has been a fucking roller coaster, right? At some points I'm like, they fucked us. The prosecution has fucked us. And then times like this where it's like, fuck yeah. Like this is proof. You know, this is undeniable. This isn't just he said, she said. This isn't just testimony. I mean, here's proof. Right, physical evidence. So this is at this point, I'm currently on an upwards trajectory when it comes to this roller coaster in which we've been on. Judge over here playing Angry Birds. No, he's definitely still playing Angry Birds.
Okay, please be seated.
He said sit down.
Okay, again, we've taken a matter up outside your presence, ladies and gentlemen, so you may proceed. Mr. Turner?
After you found the defect in State's Exhibit 641 behind you, did you thereafter go inside room 24?
I did, yes.
Turn it around.
And does State's Exhibit 642 show us the entry then into room
Yeah,
24?
It does, yes.
And tell us what we're looking at in Exhibit 643.
That's the entry door to classroom 24.
Yeah, 643.
Nobody was killed in there. There's no blood in there. Let us see.
That would be the interior. That would be facing the west wall, the same wall that the defect would have been on the outside.
Okay, where is it though?
And there's the next exhibit,
Motherfuck!
644. What are we looking at here?
That's a close-up of us pointing the camera up through the ceiling tile, and you can kind of see the hole from the inside of the classroom.
And State's Exhibit 645.
That's us up into the ceiling, through the ceiling panels, getting a close-up of the interior side of that defect.
Thank you. Now, that was not all you did in the case, is that correct?
It's correct, yes.
And did you also have an opportunity to go into rooms 111 on that very first day?
I did, yes.
And at that time, were there still the remains of this shooting in that room?
Yes. When I got the time I got there, when I went to 111, the only body that was inside the 111 was the body of the suspect.
Okay. And does the body of the suspect show his relationship to his gun?
Yes, approximately, yes.
And does it show how he was dressed?
It does, yes.
So as to compare to eyewitnesses who may have seen a gunman?
Yes.
Going next to 734. And you can go ahead and go to 735 now. And I'll just ask you, we just saw 734. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the man in black?
Yes, that's how I found him, yes.
And State's Exhibit 735, does that show him in relationship to a
No,
weapon?
show that motherfucker
It does, yes.
splattered
And
all
would you
over
show
the
us
floor.
where that weapon is?
On your honor, may I approach? The weapon, the rifle is right here in the closet on the back wall.
Okay. And about how far from his feet?
I'd say within less than 2 feet.
Okay. And moving now into room 112 from 111. No photographs. We have no photographs of that, but you did see it?
I did, yes.
You did observe it?
I did, yes.
And would you describe for the jury what you saw?
When you walk in the main entry door from the hallway, there was a lot of desks that were kind of clustered up, scattered around, and then there was a concentration of deceased bodies kind of in that the northwest corner of the room.
A concentration of deceased bodies?
Yes.
And were they adults or children?
There was children and one adult.
One adult and children.
Yes.
And were they clustered away from the door?
Yes. If you were to walk in the entry door, they were to the left in that corner to your left.
And were they away from the windows?
They were, yes. They were on the opposite side of the room from the windows.
Pass the witness.
Is it Marina?
Yes, it is.
My name is Nico LaHood. I'm one of the lawyers representing Mr. Gonzales. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You've testified for board.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you know how this works.
Yes, sir.
So are you familiar with a Hellfire trigger system?
I'm not, no, sir.
Okay. You've never heard anything about it?
No, I heard briefly them talking about it. I wasn't responsible for those two classrooms as far as the crime scene processing, but I heard talk about it, but I'd never seen one or actually knew what it did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In your duties as a ranger, have you done any training in firearms?
I have done some, yes.
You understand that there's some things you can put on a trigger to make it move faster and shoot faster.
I have heard that. I don't have any experience with it, though, but I have heard there are some things.
But you have done tactical training yourself?
It's limited. I'm not more on the tactical side. I'm kind of a crime scene guy. I've done some, but very, very limited.
Do you do trajectory analysis?
I do. Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, so as part of your experience in trajectory analysis, you have to understand how to handle a weapon, how it's shot, how it functions to actually give a better opinion of your assumptions you're making, right?
Yes.
Okay, and when it comes to trajectory analysis, other rangers have testified to this, it's really an educated guess of what you're trying to put together.
Well, there's a little margin of error, but if there's a perforating defect in the surface and then a secondary one, then that's a good candidate defect for a flight path rod, and it'll give you a good ballpark estimate of some location of the shooter. There is some margin of error.
Well, the fact that you said ballpark means that it's not exact science.
It is not exact. Yeah, there is a little margin of error. Yes, sir.
And well, other rangers said it's possible. They use a lot of words like possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about possibilities. Now, you've heard of a misfire. Have you heard of someone misfiring a weapon?
I have. Yes.
And misfiring a weapon has to do with trigger control. You understand what trigger control is, right?
I do. Yes.
Okay, so trigger control is making sure that your finger is in a safe position and not hovering inside the trigger guard, correct?
Are you referring to an accidental discharge or a misfire?
Well, okay, fair enough. Let's talk about accidental discharges
Okay.
then. Okay, what is indexing your finger on a weapon?
It's keeping your finger off the trigger.
May I stand up, Judge? Okay, so we don't have a blue gun, but I'm not going to ask for one of theirs. So there's a trigger in a weapon, and we're talking about a
Yeah.
handgun first, and then there's a trigger guard around the trigger, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then and this applies to a long rifle or a handgun, correct?
It does. Yes.
And so when someone indexes, if law enforcement or if anybody training with a weapon is taught to index, you are taught to keep your finger outside the trigger guard. And if this is my trigger, I don't want to be in the trigger, I want to be outside the trigger guard.
Yes, if you're indexing, then your finger should not be in the trigger guard on the trigger.
And so trigger discipline references not being lazy about having your finger, because you hand a child a gun, they automatically, most people, even not children, will grab that handle and then put their finger inside the trigger guard.
I can't accurately say that, but
Fair
that's
enough.
possible.
An untrained person with not proper trigger discipline could potentially do this.
That's possible,
Okay.
yes.
And so many people that are not trained well, they automatically put their finger in that trigger guard, and that could create a, as you said, a misfire or an accidental discharge.
Accidental discharge,
Okay.
yes.
And so there's no way for you to tell in your analysis of trajectory analysis whether somebody does an accidental discharge or whether it's an intentional discharge.
No.
Right. And so if we can we look at, I think, is it 636 and 637, the pictures you guys had? I think it's exhibit 636 and 637. Bill, do you have them or? Who does? He just showed them.
I was doing 7.
What is the image depict? That's what we need to know.
You don't have the number on it?
No, not only.
Oh, got it. It is, can I see the ones you have, 636 and 637?
They're probably up there.
May I approach, Judge?
No?
The ones you showed him, Bill.
Oh, that's 700.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's in the sixes.
Sorry about that. That wasn't me. That was the court TV. This is defense cross-exam. Here, I'll write it.
636. Thank you. Okay, this is State's Exhibit 636 in evidence, but in the PowerPoint, it's whichever one they have. So this is 636. You testified to this earlier to the government,
This
correct?
is that room right there that they're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about, where that shooting is.
And so I think kind of the question they were asking you was they were trying to talk to you about the trajectory path from this place in the parking lot to building room 24. Did you remember those questions?
Yes.
In a hypothetical, if somebody was intending from this west side, this is the west side of Robb Elementary,
Yes, I do.
and you know now that the murderer came in here and shot all the way up until he entered the building.
I do, yes.
And as if somebody was approaching to shoot at that side of the building and had poor trigger discipline or just an eagerness to want to hurt people, they could have accidentally discharged as they were coming up and coming across to shoot at the west side of the building, correct?
Yeah, that's possible. The only thing I can say for sure is that there was one defect in that.
And that's my point. How many defects
Oh,
are
they're
there?
trying to
There
make
was
it.
one.
One defect. So if somebody took the position that this murderer fired multiple rounds to the south side of the building over here, it would fair to say there should be way more than one defect.
Well, I mean, there's a possibility he could have fired over to the left or to the right. We just didn't find those defects. There's a possibility he could have fired more. All I found was one. So all I can say was there was at least one. There could have been more.
Well, whose responsibility was it to find if there were more?
I'm sorry?
Whose responsibility would it have been to find if there were more defects?
It was mine.
Okay. Did you find more defects?
Not in that classroom, no. Like I said, there could have been more that went out in the open air and landed in the ground somewhere way out there.
But at the
I
time
wouldn't
you
have
found that one defect, you weren't told to look at room 24, correct? You were just looking for defects.
Yes, that's
Right.
correct. Yes.
So you looked at all the buildings, did you not?
Yeah, in that line of sight, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you could have looked behind the buildings too. I'm sure you looked behind
Yeah, we searched that entire area, yes.
that entire area you searched.
Yes,
And you found one defect.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So back to my original question. If somebody made the claim that they were standing further down to the south side of the building, close to the east side, and that the murderer fired multiple shots at this person, you should have found more than one defect.
Yeah, well, I can't say that again.
Can we talk about probabilities?
Sure.
More likely than not, you should have found more defects.
It's probable, but again, like I said, there could have been where he shot over, depending on how he had the gun held, if he was, and what the angle of the barrel. So there's some
Good
could have went over.
job,
I can't say he fired
Texas
multiple.
Ranger.
All I can say was that for sure, certainly was that there was one round fired in that direction. Is all I can say.
Well, one round went in that direction. It doesn't mean it was intended to go there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this, but what my question is, bullets don't just disappear, right?
I'm not sure your question.
Well, I mean, but if somebody, I gave this example to another ranger. On New Year's, we're told not to shoot guns up in the air, right? You've heard that safety announcement?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Why is that a foolish thing to do?
Because it can come down and hit somebody.
What comes down?
The projectile.
Right, they don't just disappear.
Right. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if somebody shoots projectiles, multiple projectiles in this direction, there should be probably more defects than one.
Well, I mean, they could go over, and when they come down, they could end up inside the dirt, and we just don't see them. That's a possibility that I can't rule out.
But bullets don't loop, do they?
Well, there's a parabolic. Once they come up, they're shot in a parabolic arc. So once they go over, they're gonna arc and come down. They could go into the ground.
If somebody's on the ground, if somebody makes the claim while they're on the ground that somebody shot at them from this angle multiple times, there most likely probably would be some defects on these buildings. Right?
There could be. Yeah, I mean, like I said, all I can certainly say is there was one. That's all I can say.
Just one.
Yeah. Anything else, I'd be speculating.
Okay. And I don't want you to speculate.
Yeah, I don't.
And so if somebody
Yeah,
is
you
intending
do.
to shoot this side,
Yes,
of
you
the building,
fucking do.
and they had poor trigger discipline and an evil intent to hurt people, they could get over anxious and they could accidentally discharge up as they're coming across, because we know for sure there were many defects on this side.
This
right?
is the building where the defect was found, right around here. Nico's pissed right now. You can hear it in his voice.
I have, yes.
Explain to the jury what a ricochet is.
Ricochet is where the projectile strikes the surface and then usually at a low angle, and then it ricochets off and continues its flight path past that point.
And so when a bullet hits an object, and when you do this in trajectory analysis, that's called an intermediary object, right?
You talking the surface it hits?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it
That's
is.
right. And then that bullet can do something else.
Oh yeah, yes, can.
Was there a laser trajectory done from the spot we're looking at in Exhibit 636 to that one defect?
There wasn't, because that defect was not a candidate to put a flight path rod in, because there wasn't a secondary or a defect for us to run a rod through and attach a laser to. So it wasn't a candidate for it.
Was not a candidate for,
Yeah,
okay.
yes, sir.
So was that defect on the higher part of the building or the lower part of the building?
It was on the higher part.
And so if somebody on the ground said that shooter fired multiple shots at that person as they're on the ground, or at least standing on the ground, it's less likely that defect would be high up on near the ceiling, near the roof, right?
It depends on how they were holding the weapon and what the angle of the barrel was.
I said multiple rounds, remember that? So there should be more than one defect.
Yeah, and again, all I can tell you is there was one. I didn't see any more than one.
Fair enough. Now we saw that picture of the suspect in Exhibit 734, I believe it was. You recall that?
I did, yes.
That person lying on the ground, and I'm not going to show that picture again.
Okay.
That picture of that animal lying on the ground, that person is the one responsible for stealing those children, right?
He is the one that shot him, yes.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Brain Ranger Brain the weapon the gunman was using, you're familiar with it?
I am, yes.
And the round that he was shooting?
Yes.
What's the distance on those? How far can they go?
I would say at least 150 meters.
150 meters? Okay. And if they strike the dirt, would you be able to find it?
Probably not.
And if they're shot over the building, would you be able to find it?
No, probably not.
And on that exhibit that's in front of you now, to the left of that building, could you tell us what it's composed of? To the right of the building, excuse me.
Where the fence is?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was the air conditioning HVAC units.
No, I'm sorry. Would you approach, let me go.
This is where the building was struck, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And all the way across here, what is this?
It's open field.
Is there any way you would recover a defect in an open field?
The probability would be very slim, no.
And if shot above the building 24, was there a defect there that would have been recoverable by you?
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Shot above the building, would you have been able to recover a defect shot above the building?
If it went over and into the grass, no, the probability would be very low to recover that.
And to the right of the building, do we have open field also?
We do, yes.
And the same question about likelihood of recovery.
Yeah, it'd be a low probability, same likelihood. Yes.
Good, good.
That's it.
When it comes back to our, may I pose, Judge? Sure. Back to our hypothetical, if that same person that claims that the shooter from this position shot multiple rounds at them, and they're further down, you have this HVAC unit and all the fence that would be at the very least concealment, maybe even some cover for them, right?
For who?
Someone behind it, someone on the south side of the wall, I mean, of this building.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's possible, yes.
Well, I mean, it's not possible, that's there, this is in the way.
Well, are you talking about the HVAC units as cover or the? Oh,
Yes, sir, if in our hypothetical, if the person's behind it, they would have to shoot through the HVAC units to try to hit them.
No.
Well, again, it depends on how they're holding the weapon.
You'd have, okay, well, explain that to me.
Well, if the person's if they're holding it at the hip and the barrel's aimed up, they could get over those HVAC units fairly easy.
Well, unless, you'd have to be 20 feet tall, right? I mean, what if the person is just regular height people? I mean, it doesn't lob, you can't lob, it's not a grenade, right? You can't lob a bullet, it shoots very direct, right?
No, not, I mean, the trajectory is based on how the weapon's hold. You can, well, I've seen many shootings where they hit the weapon and fired high, and a lot of their rounds were inaccurate because they had it at the hip and were shooting way
Which
high.
is how-
I'm not talking about inaccuracy, I'm talking about probability of hitting somebody because they're behind these HVAC unit. If someone's behind this HVAC unit, they'd have cover from the HVAC unit, right?
They would, yeah.
So the shooter would have to, the shooter would have to move out to the right of the HVAC unit, or however they're holding it, to try to shoot that person behind the HVAC unit, right?
If they were behind the HVAC unit, I would think so, yes.
Well, in my hypothetical, this person is behind the HVAC unit, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so like you're behind the desk. Let's say that desk is covered and I wanted to shoot you in the leg. If that's true cover and could protect your legs, I can't shoot your leg.
Probably not, no.
Well, if it's cover, I can't because I can't see your leg.
Yeah, well, it depends on if it's hard or soft cover. If it's hard cover and it would stop around, then yes, you wouldn't be able to shoot my leg. But if it's plywood or something or soft metal, then it would go through and you could possibly hit
Nico's
the
getting
target.
pissed.
So you don't know this yet, but we've already explained to the jury the difference between cover and concealment.
Okay.
So the material, this is concealment. This is not cover.
Right, exactly.
Let's assume this is cover.
Okay, we're talking, okay.
If I wanted to shoot your legs, I'd have to move around to shoot your legs, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
same thing with these HVAC units. If there's someone behind the HVAC unit and I'm shooting from this place, I'd have to move around the HVAC unit to get line of sight on you to shoot you.
You would, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
And
Those
so if
hypotheticals,
that happened,
Nico, that's all you
and
got.
the shooter was further to the right because in that hypothetical, that person is being shot at, we would see evidence of the person, the shooter, firing from the right.
It's possibly.
If someone made that claim and you and I were prosecuting that case, what evidence would we present to a jury that somebody shot at someone behind
What
that
kind of
HVAC
question
unit?
is that?
I guess we don't understand your question.
Would we bring shells and shell casings? Because we're making a claim that someone took a shot at them and they had a
we
line
not-
of sight.
no
If somebody was
objection,
further to the right,
prosecution?
should there be shell casings here if we're making a claim like that?
There could be, but again, ejection pattern analysis is not always accurate because if they manipulate the gun any kind of way, it can change that pattern. And if they're moving or the weapon's moving, then it can change that pattern. So it's possible, but I can't say for sure that would be an indicator of it.
Are you aware that there were shells found on this side of the building?
Yeah, my recollection, there was some there, and there was some on the other side of the gravel driveway, I believe, also that were marked.
What gravel driveway?
The one there, I believe.
No, sir, you're wrong about that.
Okay.
So it's just right here, right?
Okay.
Right on the edge.
Okay.
So that's my point. So if we found.
That's a misstatement of the law, of the facts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
No,
the jury,
fine.
what the lawyers say in their questions is not to be construed as fact. So therefore, if it differs based upon your recollection, rely on your own recollection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. And so, as we recall, we remember that there are shells up and down this,
Yes, sir.
kind of up and down the edge of the parking lot, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if there are shells on the edge of the parking lot, would the shooter be on the right hand of the shells or on the left hand of the shells, knowing that you know what kind of weapon was used?
Normally it would be on the left-hand side,
And why is that?
because typically that weapon, or the most common ejection pattern is usually to the right and slightly rear.
Right. So, and it's called the ejection port.
It comes out of the ejection port, yes.
And so they've heard this already, but just to make sure you and I are on the same page, there's a long rifle with an ejection port. The magazine comes in, you chamber it, you have a trigger inside the trigger guard. Once you shoot, then the casing is discharged to the right, correct?
Yeah, when the bolt comes back, it's extracted and ejected usually to the right and maybe slightly rear. Kind of from if you're looking at a clock, the muzzle would be 12 o'clock, the stock would be 6. Most of them are going to be at 3 to 4:30 is where
That's
you're
right.
at.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so if the shells are here, roughly, I mean, they're a little bit, but there's a collection of them, you know that.
Yes.
Then you agree with me that the shooter is to the left of those shells, that shell line.
That'd be the most probable position, yes. Unless there was manipulation of the weapon or something like that. But the most probable position, if it was fired in a normal position, he would be to the left of that.
But there were no spent shell casings found out to the right in that open area, to your knowledge.
To my knowledge, no. Again, I didn't work the outside.
Okay.
I didn't work that. We went over to classroom 24 just based on some intel that there was the cartridge casings found out there. So we went out there just to make sure nothing was shot in that direction.
1 second, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Pass the witness, Judge.
Do you have any evidence that the shooter in this case used this wrong trigger guard when he grabbed the gun?
Is that the one that the defense counsel was referring
The
to?
misfire? Yeah. Do you have any evidence in this case that the gunman, that the shots he fired were misfires?
Are we talking about misfire? Because misfire and accidental discharge are completely separate.
Let me ask about accidental discharge.
Okay.
What's your definition of an accidental discharge?
It's when the gun
That's
the
what
gun
they're
was
talking
fired when
about.
it wasn't intended to be. Somebody hit the trigger when they weren't intending to hit it and the gun fires.
Is there any evidence in this case of the gunman engaged in an accidental discharge?
Good Chris.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Good fucking question. Finally. Holy fuck.
And would you go back to that exhibit that you showed the jury? No, when you showed the jury.
And I believe the defense repeatedly said, if there are casings here, and you said you didn't recall that, is that correct?
I recall when we were walking from seeing some flags for casings where I just don't remember the exact precise location, but I do remember casings being in that area.
Is this pavement?
Yes, it is.
Do you recall seeing any casings on pavement?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay, and how many times did the defense attorney ask you about casings being in this area on the pavement?
Judge, I didn't say that. I said the grass area behind the pavement.
He pointed right here, didn't he?
My understanding was he was talking about the grass area. That's what I was assuming. He was talking about the grass area.
Well, let's take a look at what the evidence shows, okay?
Sure.
All right, so let's do it.
Are there any casings on the pavement?
No. No, not that I see. Again, like I said, they were marked with flags, and we obviously can't stick a flag in asphalt, so they're on the grass.
And it's exhibits 112, 113, 111, those have been identified as being cased. Those are not on the pavement.
You're talking about the ones that are marked 12, 13?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And would you show the jury how far up the red flags go?
Looks like they go up kind of where the asphalt meets the concrete.
Would you approach the photograph and show the jury how far up those red flags go?
They go up to your, a little past that drainage, where the drainage goes under the sidewalk, and then they come across.
And from that position, is there a line of fire to the defect that you found in room 24 that you've been talking about today?
Yes, there is.
Let's
Evidence
fucking
of an
go.
accidental discharge could be a defect high and away from any targets that could be shot at.
It could be, yes.
Right. So if you have evidence of a bunch of damage, like on the west side of Robb Elementary, and then you have what we call a one-off, right? A one-off high and above any potential target, that could be evidence of an accidental discharge as someone is swinging a rifle.
Yeah, I can't rule that out.
Right. Pass the witness, Judge.
And it could be evidence of somebody shooting from the hip.
It could be, yes. I can't rule that out either.
And have you said that you've seen people shoot high in these kind of shootings?
I have, yes.
So you do have evidence that people shoot high in active shooter situations?
Yes, yes.
Pass the witness.
No further questions, Judge. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Let's fucking go. Are we gonna get one more witness up here? That was a good one.
The rule has been invoked. Don't discuss the case till you're aware the trial's over with, all right? Thank you very much.
Like ACAB 100%, but these Rangers,
Okay.
because they don't want the shit coming back on themselves, they're very fucking steady. This is the second time that Nico has been pissed off and fucking made a fool of by the witnesses. Holy shit. No, they're not trying to prove that Gonzales shot from that point, that Gonzales was in that trajectory angle and that the shooter shot in that direction, letting Adrian know that, yes, there's the guy right there. They're trying to prove that Marissa, you missed, holy shit. There was a bullet in one of the other rooms that wasn't attached to the 4th grade building. But the ones, fuck, I wish I had a picture that I could just pull up. But in one of the side ones, kind of by the pavilion, you know, there was a bullet there. And showing that he shot in that direction and Adrian was in that direction. So showing that Adrian kind of knew that, like, and that corroborates witness testimony earlier saying that he shot towards that direction.
If you want to pull out the single photograph from each one and just bring them up, we can all look at them.
Yes, Marissa, like, holy shit. I have the playback. Like, this will, when it's done, I mean, it's live right now, but when it's done, I can send you the YouTube link so that you can see it. Or, I mean, it's on Court TV or whatever. But holy shit. I was not expecting that. They literally, and that's the first part of, like, real physical evidence that they have. But that corroborates the teacher's testimonies saying that he shot in this direction where I was at, where Adrian was at. Oh. Holy shit. Holy shit. I don't hear any music. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, wait. I think that's court TV. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I'm not hearing it right here.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony given the cause will be the truth, so help you God. All right. Have a seat over here. Adjust that microphone if you need to. Mr. Turner, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is this the medical examiner?
Doctor, did you tell the jury your name, please?
Garrett Phillips.
And am I correct, you've been here since first thing this morning?
Correct.
Appreciate you being here. Could you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner at the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office.
And what is the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office?
The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office is a county office statutorily established by the laws of the state of Texas to investigate sudden, unexpected, and unnatural deaths within Bexar County.
And what is a Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
Fundamentally, the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner is one of the staff medical examiners, which is to say a forensic pathologist who is involved in the examination of persons who have suffered sudden, unexpected, or unnatural deaths. The Deputy Chief part, however, comes with additional administrative duties that see me as second to the Chief Medical Examiner.
And further on definitions, you said both forensic and pathologist, is that correct?
Correct.
Could you start with pathology and what that is?
Pathology is a specialty of medicine. It is divided into two subspecialties, anatomic and clinical pathology. Anatomic pathology is the study of tissues removed from a human body. Those may be as small as individual cells in the case of cytopathology, all the way up to the entire deceased body, as in autopsy pathology. Clinical pathology is the study of fluids removed from the body and tested in a laboratory setting. That is ultimately the specialty of pathology.
And how does forensic pathology differ from pathology?
Forensic pathology is a subspecialty within that area of anatomic pathology that I mentioned.
What the fuck? What is Court TV doing? Come on. If it's a court TV issue, then it's going to be everywhere because literally they're the ones that are doing the single stream and letting everybody else piggyback off of them. Are you fucking kidding me? WFAA is still showing? All right, give me a second.
Reviewed by other pathologists.
Yes.
And tell us about that review process.
In our office, each autopsy report is co-signed by the Chief Medical Examiner. The exception, of course, is if the Chief Medical Examiner performed the autopsy, in which case I will review that autopsy and co-sign it.
And so in reviewing somebody's autopsy, how do you do that?
When reviewing the autopsy from another individual, the key is going to be going through the autopsy report, going through all of the ancillary documentation such as the investigative report, and as well going through any photographs. Again, this is going to vary depending on the complexity of the case, but ultimately the review is geared towards whether or not you agree with the original pathologist's conclusion of cause and manner of death.
So when you said that a second person signs off, it's not just a matter of signing their name?
It is confirming that they agree fundamentally with that cause and manner of death.
And does that require reviewing both their findings as well as the photographs and to see if you agree with what they have decided?
Certainly at least the findings, yes.
At least the findings. And so that is a common practice of forensic pathology to review other pathologists' work?
That is our procedure at the office.
And can you tell us on May 24, 2022, did your office get involved in a number of autopsies?
We became involved.
And tell us about that. How did you become involved?
As I mentioned, our office is statutorily established to investigate deaths within Bexar County. On occasion, we may be requested and, depending on the circumstances, be able to assist with the examination of decedents who have died in other jurisdictions. In this case, our assistance was requested, and so we were able to fulfill that request.
And how many, approximately, were all of the autopsies in this case conducted by one pathologist?
No,
Was it a number of pathologists?
it was.
But is it my understanding you volunteered to step up and review all of those autopsies so that you could testify to this grand jury? This jury.
I did review these.
Okay. And after reviewing those autopsies, were you able to reach an independent opinion as to cause of death of each of the children involved?
Cause of death, yes.
And are you here to testify about those things?
Yes.
Okay.
And Your Honor, for the record, we won't have any objection to Dr. Phillips testifying on behalf of the work everybody else did, and of course the independent work he's done in that. So.
Thank you.
And if we could start with our state's exhibit 739, and I believe we're going to try to go, is it my understanding that y'all labeled these children not only by number but also alphabetically so that you could keep up with them?
There was, based on my understanding, an initial alphabetical assignment. However, those were fairly rapidly, I would say, converted into more formal medical examiner case numbers that we will generate routinely within our office.
Okay. And did you take photographs then to identify these children both by number and alphabetically?
Yes, I believe that was done.
And so I would like to start
My kid's
with,
not a fucking
State's
number.
Exhibit 739.
Your Honor, if we could just, I mean, at this time, what they're about to show this jury is going to be incredibly distressing, and we're just kind of starting into it. We just have a warning for them that they know what we're about to state.
And I don't mind explaining that, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
As to these photographs that we're about to see, I just want to ease everybody's mind. These are not photographs of wounds, is that correct? There's been some things that have happened. Okay. Let me explain then. We're going to be limited. We are limiting our questioning to you and to the description of wounds in your opinion as to cause of death, which wounds caused death, which wounds did not cause death. But as far as photographs, we're not going to be showing photographs of those wounds.
I understand.
Fair enough? Which is not to say you didn't review those photographs, is that correct?
Correct.
But nonetheless, we are going to show photographs of the child so that we may identify those children as per what the indictment requires. Is that fair enough?
Understood.
So we will have a photograph of both the child alive as well as a clothed photograph of just the face of the child. Fair enough?
Understood.
And you're familiar with those photographs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so now if we could start with Exhibit 739, Uzziah Garcia. And we have him by both number, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's the number that your department assigned?
That's correct.
And initially, there was an A by that name, and that was also a way the children were identified.
Initially.
Okay. And could you describe for us, let's start with the wound. Were there, did Mr. Garcia receive wounds?
Yes.
And were any of those wounds, did they cause death?
Yes.
And what type of wounds caused Mr. Garcia's death?
The most significant wound in this case was a gunshot wound that entered the back. That wound ultimately, most significantly, went through both lungs as well as the thoracic vertebral column, injuring the spinal cord. After having traversed both lungs, it did enter the abdomen and injure the spleen as well.
Okay. You talked about several organs here, and I just want to do it with the first child so we can get used to that, okay? Could you kind of go through the organs that you talked about it penetrated, what the function of those organs are, and why penetrating those organs would be a cause of death?
So in this case, going through both lungs is going to cause significant bleeding, and it's going to impair the ability to breathe. Going through the vertebral column and transecting the spinal cord is going to cause a loss of sensation and motor function below that level at the thoracic level. To clarify, there are several levels of the spine. The cervical spine is the neck, the thoracic spine is in the chest, and then the lumbar and sacral spine are in the abdomen and pelvis. So this was in the region of the chest. The splenic injury, the spleen is a vascular organ, and so that would be expected to also contribute to the bleeding in addition to the lung injuries.
And could you show us just generally on your body the general direction or pathway of that
Yes.
gunshot wound?
So this wound entered in the back relatively high here, and it's going to go across and end up in the abdomen somewhere around here.
And in your opinion, that a gunshot wound caused his death?
Yes.
And were there other wounds that he suffered?
There was an additional wound.
Could you describe that for us?
That was a entrance wound of the chest. However, only a projectile fragment was recovered, and that wound path was very superficial.
So it would not have led to death?
That wound was much less significant, and yes, I could envision that wound not leading to death.
Any other findings of significance to share with this jury?
There were some other apparent ballistic injuries or fragmentary impacts on other parts of the body.
And could you explain those for us?
Anytime a projectile fragments, which at least one of these fragments did, or anytime there are other projectiles that have been fired in the vicinity that have fragmented, those can bounce or ricochet off of nearby structures, or they can perforate nearby structures and cause blunt impacts to the body that would cause these sorts of ballistic fragmentary injuries.
And so whether the bullet passed through another object or ricocheted off of it, you can't say?
Not given these findings, I couldn't be more specific.
And also, as far as distance determination, are you able to determine how far a weapon was from a body when the body received that gunshot wound?
In some cases, yes.
And in this case, was it very limited, the times that you found somebody with a very close-up gunshot wound?
In this specific case, I could not definitively say that there was evidence of close-range firing. However, the reason that those other ballistic or fragmentary impacts can be important is because those can, on some level, mimic close-range firing, and so that will complicate the evaluation. So in this case, I do at least have those fragmentary injuries, but I don't have anything that I could definitively say was close-range.
And could you tell us how you determine distance and what the different levels of distance are when pathologists are looking at gunshot wounds?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, if I could make a recommendation just to reduce the secondary trauma that can be suffered. If we can just, we don't have to have the picture up while we're talking about distance and things like that. If we can have the picture, take it down.
No fucking seat!
I think it would be appreciated.
It's their case. However you want to proceed, Mr. Turner, go ahead.
Our problem is the PowerPoint just moves to the next child. I guess
You can click the button and it goes
you
on.
can click it off. That's fine. That's fine.
Go ahead, proceed.
And we were talking about distance determinations. Can you tell how far a weapon was from the body when the body received the wound?
Correct. So in some cases that is possible. When a gun is fired, the bullet obviously is going to exit the muzzle of the gun. However, more than just the bullet will also exit the weapon. There can be particles of burning and unburnt gunpowder, as well as residues of combustion. If the gun is fired in close enough proximity to the skin, those additional items can sometimes impact or deposit upon the skin. And so those findings that we would most typically look for would be soot, which is an amorphous grayish black residue that is the products of combustion, that's the smoke coming out of the gun, or powder tattooing, which are very, well, I should say, relatively regular punctate abrasions that are caused by the burning and unburnt particles of gunpowder striking the skin and abrading it and embedding into the skin. Beyond that range, it is possible for gunpowder to deposit on the skin, although because it lacks mass, it can no longer abrade the skin. In addition, under those ranges, if the muzzle of the gun is actually directly in contact with the skin, we can see contusions, abrasions, or lacerations associated with the muzzle of the gun on the skin.
And is there a name for if the muzzle is on the skin?
That would be a contact wound.
And what are the other classifications?
The other classifications would be near contact, depending on how much you want to lump or split. Something that's relatively near contact would probably be expected to have soot. That is, and this is a very fuzzy number, somewhere in the vicinity of the first 12 inches away from the muzzle. Now again, many variables are going to affect the actual distance, so the only real way to get a harder number than what I'm providing is to test fire the actual weapon against a witness panel with the actual ammunition used. But again, as a rough guide, about a foot. For powder tattooing, somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 to 5 feet is where powder tattooing will cease. For gunpowder particulate deposition, a very broad range, anywhere from 9 to 21 feet, gunpowder particles can begin to cease being deposited on the skin. As we move beyond that, we will have no evidence of close range firing. Some people would call that distant, although it's also reasonable to call that indeterminate because, again, depending on many of these variables, there may be different reasons why you're not seeing evidence of close range firing.
Thank you very much. And so we have talked about the wound that caused death. We've also talked about a chest wound, and you were talking about this third kind of abrasive wound. Is that correct?
So in this case, there were the fragmentary injuries.
Fragment wounds. I've next turned to State's Exhibit 740. If you could display that. Mr. Rogelio Torres. And is that your autopsy number 1380?
Correct.
And is there a wound depicted in State's Exhibit 740?
A wound is seen.
And what's the nature of that one?
That is a wound that is adjacent to the right eyebrow.
But that was not a life-threatening wound?
In this case, that was described as a graze wound.
A graze?
Graze, correct.
Thank you. You can turn it up.
You know, they're showing these pictures to these
Could you
juries
tell us
that
then
I
what
didn't
you're
even get to
finding
see.
for us
I didn't even
to
get to see that picture of
Mr.
Uzziah.
Torres?
In this case, 12 gunshot wounds were noted. The injuries that were produced included the brain, the right lung, liver, right kidney, thoracic spine and spinal cord, as well as the right humerus, which is to say the long bone of the upper arm.
Okay. And each one of those wounds, those 12 wounds, were capable of causing death?
They're all potentially going to contribute. Of course, A wound that is traversing the brain is going to very likely be causative of death in the absence of the rest. However, if you take out, for instance, the wound traversing the brain, a combination of liver, kidney, thoracic spine, long bone fracture, and lung injury might well also be productive of death. But again, these were all collectively present, and so they were all considered as collectively causing death.
And any other non-life-threatening wounds?
Again, some of the other findings, such as the graze wound, would have been present. So there was the graze wound on the right eyebrow. There were some additional, less physiologically significant wounds that didn't cause major neurovascular or organ injuries that were present.
Thank you. Exhibit 741, Miranda Mathis.
Yes.
Could you tell us what your findings are in regard to Miranda Mathis?
In this case, there were 12 gunshot wounds. The significant injuries included the heart, both lungs, the liver. There were injuries to the cervical spine and spinal cord, that is, again, in the neck, skull base fractures, and there were injuries to the larynx and trachea, that is to say, the windpipe, basically, as well as the pelvis.
And any non-life-threatening wounds?
There were some additional injuries that, again, the ones that I described are the ones that are sort of the most physiologically significant. There were some additional.
Let's just stay with those unless
Okay.
you find a wound that you consider significant as to whether or not it was a contact or close contact, something that would make it different from the other wounds you're describing.
So in this case, there were 3 of the gunshot wounds that in this case did demonstrate the gunpowder tattooing that were mentioned. And there was some additional gunpowder tattooing on the right hand.
And does that suggest range?
So this would be indicative of close range firing.
And that would be?
That would be the powder tattooing, so as we described it, the intermediate range.
And the distance would be about what?
As I said, somewhere in the vicinity of that 3 to 4 to 5 feet is when that begins to cease, so I would expect under that, but in order to get a better number, it would be necessary to test fire the weapon with the ammunition used.
So somewhere around 3, 4, 5 feet away.
That's where it ceases.
And
So
within
if
range.
it's present, it's somewhere within that.
Closer than that.
Correct.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 742. Alethea Ramirez.
Correct. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the brain, both lungs, the aorta, left femoral vein, the pelvis, and left femur. The femur is the long bone in the thigh, and an injury to the trachea.
We've
Significant
only
time.
been through
Those
4
were
kids.
the significant injuries, yes.
And each of them were gunshot wounds.
Gunshot wounds, correct.
Thank you. Exhibit 743. Bea Bravo.
Correct. In this case, the decedent had 8 gunshot wounds. The significant injuries included the brain, the major neurovascular structures of the right forearm, and the left upper arm, and fractures of the right radius and ulna. Those are the long bones within the forearm.
And any of those sufficient in and of themselves to cause death?
Certainly the brain injury, yes.
State's Exhibit 744. Ileana Torres.
Correct. In this case, there were 13 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the heart, the left lung, the left upper arm vasculature, the liver, the facial bones, cervical spine, and the left humerus.
And was it a combination of the wounds or was it just a single wound that caused the death?
In this case, the heart wound itself would probably have been sufficient, but the rest were significant as well.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 745, Layla Salazar.
Correct.
I've already taken
Sorry,
it down. That's
could I
okay.
see that real quick?
Yeah, you can-
Just to confirm the number. Yes, thank you. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the left internal jugular vein, that is the major vein that brings blood from the head back to the heart. In addition to that, there were injuries to the left lung, the cervical and thoracic spine and cord, the tibia, which is the long bone in the shin, and there were skull fractures with intracranial bleeding, that is to say bleeding surrounding the brain, even though in this case the projectile did not traverse the cranial cavity. It went close enough to cause bleeding inside the head.
It passed enough energy in to cause bleeding inside the brain.
Correct.
746, Annabelle Rodriguez.
Correct.
This one's going to be more disturbing.
In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The right carotid artery and jugular vein were injured. Again, the carotid artery takes blood to the brain. The jugular vein returns it from the brain. Both lungs were injured, and the thoracic spine and cord, as well as the larynx, were injured. Likewise, with the injuries to the cord, what you will sometimes see is that blood will then enter the cranial cavity. So there was some subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is a type of bleeding inside the head surrounding the brain.
Thank you. J.C. Uavanos, 747.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. The brain, the cervical spine, and the spinal cord were injured.
Thank you. And each of these were gunshot wounds?
These are all from gunshot wounds.
All the wounds that you described for us are gunshot wounds, is that correct?
That's correct.
No other weapon caused any injury to this child?
None that was, no, it did not appear so. In fact, in each case, although we haven't specified it, projectile fragments were recovered associated with each autopsy.
Okay, associated with gunshot wound.
Part of the bullet, basically.
So that confirms for you that these are all gunshot wounds?
One of the things, yes.
Exhibit 748, Ileana Garcia.
Correct. In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The skull was fractured, again with that same type of bleeding inside the head, subarachnoid hemorrhage. There were also injuries to the right axillary artery and vein. The axillary artery and vein are the major blood vessels that run from the chest into the arm.
Tess Mata, State's Exhibit 749.
Correct. In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The internal injury was the brain.
Okay. Okay, could you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, there was an entry wound of the face that did traverse the cranial cavity. There were additional injuries of the back, buttocks, and left upper extremity. However, these did not cause significant internal organ injuries.
Thank you. Matthew Rodriguez, 750.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. The brain and the right lung were the major internal injuries.
Jayla Seguero, number 751.
Correct. In this case, there were 2 gunshot wounds. Both lungs were injured. The aorta was injured. The aorta is the major blood vessel that comes off of the heart and carries blood to the remainder of the body. And the thoracic spine was also injured.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 752, Amory Joe Garza.
Correct. In this case, there was 1 gunshot wound, which injured the heart, right lung, liver. Those were the major internal injuries.
It was just one wound, but it went.
Yes.
Could you just show us how that traversed?
Yes, that's correct. This wound entered the back about here, and it went from back to front. And as it went from back to front, it went through the lung, the heart, the liver, and then was recovered from within the body.
Thank you. 753, McKenna Elrod.
Correct. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. The injuries included both lungs, the brachiocephalic artery. That is one of the major branches of the aorta in the chest that ultimately is going to split off into the right subclavian and the right carotid arteries and carry blood to the head and the right arm. In addition, the left femur, both tibias, and the trachea were injured.
Exhibit 754, Alexandria Rubio. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go too quick.
Correct. In this case, there were 2 gunshot wounds. The major internal injury was the brain. The additional wound was a superficial gunshot wound to the back.
And State's Exhibit 755, Xavier Lopez.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Too quick.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. Both lungs were injured, as well as the thoracic spine and spinal cord. In addition, there was a wound that perforated the scalp. It did not go into the cranial cavity. However, it did cause bleeding inside the head, subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhage. Well, I should say, let me back up. It could have contributed to that bleeding. In addition, the injuries to the spinal cord lower down could have contributed to that bleeding.
Thank you. And is that the final report on the children that y'all did pathology on?
No, I have a couple more.
Of children or,
Yes.
okay, could you share with us your next one?
My next one is case number 22-1399.
And can you tell us about that, and I'll come back to the name, my apologies.
Yes, in that case, there was a single gunshot wound that injured the heart, both lungs, and the aorta. This case also demonstrated soot.
And what does the soot mean?
So the soot is the close range firing that is, again, within that 1 foot distance.
Thank you. And your final autopsy?
The case number is 2022-1400.
Okay. And we'll provide those with a future witness.
Yes, in this case, we had a single
The fact that
gunshot
you had to
wound.
say, no, I have several
that
more.
was a wound of the head injuring the brain and skull.
And thank you for doing all the work that it took to make these findings.
And
Let
literally,
me ask you if
they're
I'm
just
pushing too
relegated to
far, I don't mind
fucking
going to
numbers
somebody
and
more
shit.
familiar. But as a pathologist and reviewing the photos in this case, are you comfortable testifying that these were all children under 15 years of age?
Judge will stipulate to it.
I believe we have a stipulation that these were all children under 15 years of age.
Yes, Your Honor, we will.
Pass the witness.
Okay, then court will take judicial notice of the stipulation.
Pass the witness.
Your Honor, I guess before I start, I just ask out of respect for the children and their families that this exhibit be sealed by the court, that it cannot be accessed by the public, that it stays with the court, because I believe that would be necessary to
I
protect.
have already
give a
instructed
shit.
the court reporter as to that, so.
Yes, Your Honor, I didn't know you had, but I appreciate you doing so. Dr. Phillips, you and I, we know each other, actually.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you this, I hate to see you here, but I do appreciate what you did to document what that monster did to those children, and I'll pass the witness.
That's all, Your Honor.
Is he excused, not subject to recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Goss?
No, Your Honor, we don't need him for recall.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
I was not expecting Uzi's name to be the first one. I was not prepared.
We're gonna take a short break, ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes to take care of another matter. So remember my instructions. We'll see you back in 10. Would everyone rise for the jury?
Let me know when you're ready.
You know, we've been listening to the medical examiner just document these injuries.
We gotta wait for them, I guess. I wish I would have been there today. Though there's no reason why the jury was able to see my son before I was. It's been 3 years and I still haven't seen that picture. That's my fucking baby. I didn't know. Like, I wish they would have let me fucking know. I think the jury did need to see it, absolutely, but I should have seen it first. Would I want to see it I have to know everything. That's my kid, you know? Like, I hate seeing the shit, but I have to see it. I have to know every little detail. I have to see everything because they've lied to us from the fucking beginning. I feel sick to my fucking stomach right now. That's a perfect idea. Let's give 77 seconds for all those babies. Starting now. Thank you. I don't even know what to say right now. Did they tell me about the wounds? Yeah, they wouldn't let us keep the autopsy paperwork or whatever. The DA and that the DA and the lead prosecutor or whatever the fuck are the ones that told us about it. I have it recorded because I knew they weren't going to give me that information. And then she kicked me out of it. I guess I can release that now that his autopsy's out there. Fuck, the Santa Fe families had to fight for 5 years to be able to hear it, and they don't get to keep it either. That's how fucked this system is. Uzi's favorite song was Moonlight by XXX. That's literally why I have, I know you can't really see it, but I have a moon back here. We played that at his funeral. The instrumental. Anyways. I think they said a 10-minute recess. They're going to come back, and I don't know what they're deciding right now, but we'll see. I don't know if we'll line up for another witness today. We'll just see what they decide to do after this recess. They have to do it outside of the jury's presence, so it's some more talking about some shit. I will say this, though. I think that noise that we keep hearing might not even be court TV. I don't know if y'all can hear it right now. I think that might be my my web browser. Yeah, I think that's my web browser. I'm going to try to go in there and change it. If y'all like it and it's not bothering y'all, we'll keep it in. I know I have to change I know I'll have to change the typing and everything, because right now it has spray can sound every time I type. I don't feel good, guys. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of after the live commentary like we've been doing. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad that we have the weekend off. That they're not gonna do court. I need a few days. I know I typically come on weekends and everything and have these conversations about gun violence and shit like that, but I won't be able to this weekend. Lucy's favorite subject at school, it was recess, so he could run. Uzi struggled a lot early on with school, his grades and everything like that. We had just gotten to the point where he literally had his first AB honor roll. That was that day, May 24th, the first time he ever got AB honor roll. He just liked running. Just, he never stopped. What's the time he made us laugh very hard? Every day. Every day. It'd be hard to pinpoint one because literally that was who he was. He just, like I said, he'd go out of his way. I think we're back. He'd go out of his way to make everybody laugh as hard as they can. All right, come on, I don't want to switch. Hurry up and get off the fucking phone.
Locked. You cannot go in. There are glass doors so people can see when somebody walks up, but you cannot get into the courtroom without a pass. And they have designated seating for everybody.
Okay. All right, Rebecca. Well, the judge is back, and
I never
Adrian Gonzales is back in the courtroom. So we're going to let you go. And again, safe travels. I hope you're close to getting home. So
I'm actually just pulled up in front of my house. Thank you, Tanya.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
All right.
nice to joke about in the middle of a fucking trial like this, you idiots.
Okay. Well, I think we got sound back in the courtroom.
Okay, please be seated in the courtroom. State.
Your Honor, we do have the last two children that the pathologist talked about, and
Judge, we have talked to the prosecution. We've agreed to allow them to show the jury and to tell the kids their name.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for identification purposes, they've agreed to allow the photographs to be shown without the pathologist testifying? He already did testify about them, but to just tie it up.
Yes, Your Honor, and I would be, if I could be clear, without waiving any previous objections that we've made, it's just in this circumstance, the situation, we're assuming the court would have the same ruling, and we would, that's why we're making that accommodation.
Correct.
Just 1 second.
These are photographs of Jacqueline Casares and Javier Lopez.
They were just playing here.
Okay.
And that was number 1399, and there's the last autopsy.
Unfazed. This
Pathologist
piece of
talked about.
shit
And then
motherfucker
1400.
is ungoddamn phased by it all. Fuck you.
Thank you.
All right.
And it was 1400.
Javier Lopez.
Okay, thank you. Your next witness.
State calls Jennifer Lugo.
Your Honor, I do believe that this, the subject matter of this witness would go into a motion of limine that we've raised previously. I don't know if you'd like us to approach her.
We're just going to talk about the events that day.
Well, if you'd like us to approach.
Okay. Come on up. Just 1 second, man. We'll get you right up here.
And now we're gonna mute again. They haven't said who the next witness is. We have no idea who it is.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do solemnly swear the evidence and the testimony given in this cause will be the truth, so help you God. All right, please have a seat over here. That microphone will adjust, so make it comfortable for you and try to speak up so everybody can hear you.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Jennifer Garcia.
And Ms. Garcia, where do you currently reside? Don't tell me the address, it's the town and the county.
Uvalde, Texas.
Okay. And I'm going to take you back to the day of May 24th of 2022. On that day, did you have a child that went to Robb Elementary?
Yes, I had one.
And what was her name?
Ileana Amaya Garcia.
And where is Robb Elementary? Just to clarify for the record, is that in Uvalde County?
Yes.
Okay. And you dropped her off at school that morning?
Yes.
Okay. And was there something special about that day?
Just that they were having an awards ceremony for the end of the year, school year.
Okay. And was it a normal morning for you when you dropped her off?
Yeah, I mean, I have more other children, so I dropped them off, made my rounds, dropped her off, and then went home just to get ready for the awards.
And did you attend the awards ceremony that morning?
Yes.
And did she, in fact, receive an award?
She did. She received one. I believe it was like a helping kind of student award.
And were you there to see her get that award?
Yes.
And did y'all take pictures and all that?
We did. She took a picture with her sister and a picture with her with the certificate.
Now, at some point, did you hear that there was something happen at Robb Elementary?
Not at that moment, not until I went home shortly after.
Okay, so you left her at school that day?
I did. She wanted to come home. She asked if she could come home, but I told her no, to stay in school. Because after the awards, earlier that week, I believe we had gave the teacher $2. They were all going to pitch in for pizza and have like a movie fun day kind of thing. So I told her no, that she didn't need to come home for her to stay at school, and that I would pick her up later.
Okay. And at some point, so you returned back to your home?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you return back to Robb Elementary School?
I did. After shortly getting home, not that long ago, a neighbor came and asked where my girls were. I told her they all went to school but one. And she's like, okay, well, you need to get to Robb ASAP. And I'm like, why? What's going on? She's like, there's something going on. They believe that there's a shooter at the school. So I just grabbed the baby, jumped in the car. I believe we both went barefooted. She met me there. She took the baby, and I just started running, and there was just chaos. I mean, there was already people, cops there. I mean, everything was just hectic.
And at some point, were you directed to the Civic Center?
Yes, well, shortly after waiting there, seeing what's going on, asking where my daughter was, we couldn't find her. Kids were just running everywhere. Kids were loading up on the EMS. Shortly after we couldn't find ours, they're all like, we'll just check hospitals, but they redirected everybody to the Civic Center to wait for any updates, because they were still trying to get all the children directed that way.
Okay. And once you got to the Civic Center in Uvalde, what happened there?
It was just like we just had to wait for any updates. I mean, we waited there for a couple hours. Unfortunately, ours, I want to say we were the second, third to last parents. At the end of the day, about 9-ish, 10 to find out that one of our children was one of the deceased.
Okay. And who told you that your daughter had died?
I don't know, was it, I don't think they were DPS. It was some officers that were in a room. I don't remember who they were.
Okay. And how old was your daughter when she passed away?
9.
And was her birthday coming up?
Yes, her birthday was supposed to be June 4th.
Okay.
The weekend after that week.
Okay. And again, state her name.
Ileana Amaya Garcia.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Garcia, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's terrible. And I pray to God for his peace for you and your family. I'll pass the witness.
No more question, John.
Okay, is she subject to recall, or is she excused to remain in the courtroom if she so desires?
She's excused. We had talked about that, and I guess if we could approach on that, but for the moment, there was supposed to be an agreement, and I don't know if we've actually made that agreement.
Well, I mean, if she's not subject to recall, anyway.
Yes, Your Honor, there were some conditions that we had spoke about that I don't think we've actually revisited, but at this moment, we...
Well, ma'am, you've testified you're not subject to recall. At this time, it's up to you. You can have a seat in the courtroom or go about your business, whatever you'd like to do. All right? Thank you.
That was our last witness for the day, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end a little early. We will resume at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. It's extremely important you remember my instructions. Please don't read anything, watch anything, or listen to anything that may be in the media about the case. Don't talk to anybody about the case. Don't let anybody talk to you. Should some of you get here early and you're in the jury room without the other jurors, remember, don't talk about the case. Wait until all the evidence is in. Have a wonderful weekend, and would everyone rise for the jury?
So that's the end for today. We'll be back on Monday, everybody. So